Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, moni miliwanji, namaste, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jadley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We're so delighted and so very honored that you are joining us in our mission to help families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Ghana, Himalaya, Good Pods, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is Shaun Banks, the driving force behind a great magazine for kids. It's called You Can Have It All. Before we invite Shaun into the studio, we want to let you know that this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast is brought to you by the wonderful books by Sue Arts. Author Sue Arts invites you to check out her Liddy and Sassy series, great kid stories about a young girl and her pug. When we first meet Liddy in the book Looking for Something, she's a bit restless. She heads out for a walk and discovers a beautiful park and great new friends. You and your kids are absolutely going to love it when Liddy meets some great new friends. Miss Mitzi the kitten, Sam Squirrel, Sassy Turtle, and then she finds the greatest surprise of all, an adorable little pug looking for someone, her new best friend. Their special bond continues in the next story, The Green Gem. Liddy learns that actions and lies have consequences when she borrows a special family necklace and loses it. Luckily, Sassy Pug comes to the rescue. You and your kids are going to absolutely love the Liddy and Sassy series by Sue Arts. Get your copies today at Amazon. Joining us right now from Atlanta in Georgia, one of my favorite cities in the world. Our guest today is here to talk to us about a really exciting magazine for kids. It's called You Can Have It All. Please welcome to the show the driving force behind this magazine, Shaun Banks. Hey, Shaun, how are you?
Hey, great, Jed. How are you?
I'm pretty wonderful. I'm really excited to learn all about You Can Have It All.
All right. Good stuff.
Yeah, so let's tell us about it.
So You Can Have It All it's an international motivational development magazine, and it's all about inspiring kids to go after their dreams and to be inspired by other youth that they're able to read about and learn about. And pretty much our goal is to build self-confidence and self-efficacy in children. And as some of the listeners may know or may not know, of course, self-confidence is the idea of I am, and self-efficacy is the idea of I can do. So we want kids to see if they can do more and they can accomplish whatever they dream about.
I love that you are sharing this message. It's something that I've been sharing in my live magic performances for probably since before you were born, for over 30 years. I don't hear enough of it these days. I hear a lot of people, rightly so, talking about what's wrong with the world. And there certainly are a lot of things wrong with the world. For one thing, I've been locked up in the studio for over 2 years. But there's a lot right that's going on in the world, too. And more importantly, there's a lot we can make right together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's a whole lot we can make right together. And just with everything going on, it's a really good time for kids to get personal development. A lot of times we're focused on the adults, and we need it a lot ourselves, going out into the world and doing things. But kids, the more they're exposed to social media and just, things going on, the kids need personal development. They need to believe that they can do it, and they need to hear it over and over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think one of the things that kids hear online, because I know that what I'm seeing online is very different than what my niece, who's 18, is seeing online. And partly is because of the fact I'm almost 100, but it's also the choices that we make and the people that we hang with. And I know, a lot of people my age are posting, you can do it, we got it, the world is beautiful. Take it, there's also a lot of people out there, especially younger people going, you can't do it. You're not good enough. You're never going to be good enough. And what was it that motivated you to create You Can Have It All?
Well, so I've been in youth development for over 20 years, and I started out teaching self-defense to women and children, and then we opened up Camp Warrior King, which is a personal development camp. And in the summer camp, we realized that a lot of great kids, a lot of great families, but there was just this huge need for personal development with these kids. They would come to camp and they would have a great time, but then we'd only get them for the summer. And then they would come back and, you have to kind of build them back up. And we wanted to create something where the great experiences the kids were getting at our camp, we could share with the rest of the world, because we didn't want to open up a bunch of camps all over, but we want them to have the same experiences as much as possible. And so we put it in a magazine. We realized that there wasn't a motivational development periodical out that was inspiring kids and where they could see their peers. And so, we saw that opportunity and went for it.
Now, is You Can Have It All available in print and online, or is it strictly an online product?
No, it's available in print and online. Matter of fact, here's a copy of it for you to look at. I know the listeners won't be able to see it, but that's actually our most recent issue of the magazine here. And but it's available in print and online. Online is great because kids can get it in their phone, right, and be able to take a look at it because they like technology. However, getting something in your hand and being able to kind of look through the pages and being able to put something on your wall, a poster, if you will, or a quote that came from the magazine is worth its weight in gold. So we want to make sure that they're getting print copies as well.
That is one of the things that I miss. I loved, my dad used to give me subscriptions to magazines. That was sort of like the gift that I would look forward to. And
right.
There were different magazines at different times. There was Sports Illustrated when I was a kid. There was Smithsonian when I was in college. There was another magazine that will remain unnamed. Nothing too bad. It's my dad. But, that was, being able to, and I always went from the back to the front. I don't know why. I think there must be some, Japanese in me somewhere along the line.
Right.
But we don't see, I haven't had a magazine arrive in my house in decades. And in fact, I was just in a hospital emergency room with my beautiful wife, and there wasn't a magazine to be found anywhere, probably because of COVID. So yeah, this is something that a lot of kids must be surprised. I'm imagining You Can Have It All for a lot of kids, it's the first magazine they've ever seen.
For a lot of kids, it's the first magazine they've seen or a first magazine that they've read. We got away from print, right? And there was this idea that everything was going to go digital, but people tend to enjoy reading. You'll read a little bit online or on your phone, but if you're actually going to get into something, people like to read and have something in their hand, which is why you still have books in print. And I don't think we'll ever really get away from that just because of the power of reading a book or reading a periodical and being able to read it over and over again, and there's a connection with being able to read something and being able to, put it up on your wall, right? Especially when it comes to reading like this. I mean, when we were kids, you'd have a poster on your wall, and that we've gotten away from that in a lot of ways because of digital, but I don't think that it's something that will completely go away. I actually think it's something that is actually coming back because with digital, you have all the other distractions. You have, like with social media. Social media is neither good or bad. It just kind of is, right? But you just have all the other distractions in your phone. And so, and the thing that kids like the most, I think more than even the magazine, is actually getting something in the mail that has to do with them, right? They get this colorful package in the mail, and then there's games, there's activities, there's all kinds of things. They have an opportunity to interact, which is what makes our magazine really attractive, that kids can actually, submit artwork, submit essays for a chance to win prizes. And so it makes it really cool for them.
Awesome. So let's talk about the content that we'll find in You Can Have It All.
Sure. So the content is mostly motivational, right? So the whole magazine is steered around motivation, but we have lots of different topics in the magazine. So we have a sneaker exit. well, the sneaker corner. One of the issues we're doing next month is on the sneaker exit, but it's all about sneakers and kids that are sneakerheads and like kicks. We have topics that, for example, we talk about Cameron Shell, in this current issue, who is the CEO of Dragonfly Drones. And Dragonfly Drones is responsible for saving the first human life, the first drone that ever saved a human life out in the wild. We have spotlights that are really cool, where different kids are have a spotlight on who they are, what activities they like to do, and why we think that they're cool. And kids get a chance to read that. We have Wild, Cool, and Interesting, which are like funny facts or funny things. So one of the things in our current issue is on the amount of languages in the world, and actually the language that has the least amount of people following it. Last month we did an issue on rubber ducks and the rubber duck race that goes on. We talk about wilderness survival. We have a comic in there, which is Team Hot Sauce, and that's the comic group. I mean, just so much information, just anything we think that kids would like, we talk about, whether it's sports. We have a fashion section, arts and crafts. I mean, just anything we think kids are interested in that'll inspire them, we talk about in the magazine.
There's a lot there that I want to dig into. First, I need your help. Like I said before, I'm almost 100 years old. For me, sneakers are something I put on my feet so I don't crush my knees when I'm trying to exercise. But my niece that I love and adore, I go into her room and she has a sneaker collection, and it's art. I mean, she has the boxes. You know, she's nailed the boxes to the wall, and the sneakers go on the boxes, and they're all, I'm like, when do you wear these? I would never wear these. Huh? I don't get it. I don't get it. And none of them cost less than $100, $200. I mean, it's like, I go barefoot before I spent that much money on sneakers. You got to help me, Shaun. I don't get it.
Well, the sneaker culture is it is massive, and it is really interesting because it's all about the sneakers what sneakers you think are cool. You have some people that buy sneakers to buy and sell, right? I mean, at any point you can go online, you could be buying a pair of sneakers from a 13-year-old that is collecting these shoes and has started a business, and they're selling $300 sneakers. Matter of fact, I just got a post about the new Kanye's coming out, and you can't even buy them right now. You have to bid for them. That's how high demand they are. And so there's an issue right now because a lot of people are using the bots, and the bots will buy all the sneakers really fast, and then regular people can't buy them. Then you have to end up buying them at a marked up price. So it's just this huge thing going on. But then you have other people that will buy them and like to wear them around, right? Like the practical use for a sneaker. We buy the sneaker, we want to wear them. I'm the kind of person where I'm not going to buy a pair of sneakers I'm not going to wear. Mm-hmm. But you have people that will buy sneakers and say, hey, look, this sneaker will be worth more money 5 years from now. You know, like Kobe's, for example. If somebody bought a bunch of Kobe shoes are worth a ton of money now, primarily because, well, now he's gone. And also there's no longer shoes in production with Nike. So imagine you have a mint condition Kobe Bryant sneaker from Nike, and now it'll never be reproduced again. There's a lot of value there. And so that's part of the sneaker culture, man. It's wild.
My mind is boggled. I don't.
And there's all kind of, ways to find out which ones are real, which ones are fake. For example, for Jordans, with Jordan's shoes, the way to tell if his shoes are fake or not is the fingers should be spread apart and there shouldn't be any stitching in between. If you can see the stitching on his fingers, then you know that they're not real. And so it's just little tricks like that you and I would never even think about. But, I see kids with black lights at these sneaker conventions looking and examining these sneakers to make sure they're real. Yeah, it's wild. That's one of the things we're going to talk about in our next issue.
And you just said sneaker convention.
Yes. Convention with thousands of people there buying and selling and trading shoes. Thousands.
Oh man. I never took part in it, but I can't say that this is ridiculous because, there was a time in my life that my friends were buying Beanie Babies.
There you go.
And I didn't understand that. These grown men are going out and fighting each other for a Beanie Baby, and I'm like, dudes, come on. Oh, this is an investment. I'm going to get my kid through college with this. I'm
right.
Like, oh, good for you. Okay. Yeah, the stock market. Don't worry about the stock market. Dude, let's do Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies.
Oh, wow. I think that you can have it all would be a great way just for a parent to kind of know what's going on in their kids' lives so they can, almost like a language decoder.
That's right. That's right. It is. It allows parents to see what's going on in their kids' lives. It's something where it's totally G-rated, right? You can sit your kid down with it. They can look through every single page and you're not concerned about it. But the most important thing it does for children is it encourages reading, right? Leaders are readers. And the thing we want our kids to read, and we want them to read something positive, of course, but things we just want them reading, get them in the habit of reading. And what it does is it allows a kid to sit down and read, encourage them to read, and, front to back. I mean, our last issue is 74 pages. So there's a whole lot of interesting stuff in there to read. And, but yeah, it allows parents to see what's going on and see what kids are interested in, the new fashion crazes that are coming out for kids. It allows them to see, what new video game is out that their child might want. We also have some tips in the back for parents. We have a suicide prevention, foundation in the back to help parents out, because that's one of the biggest issues that children are dealing with now, especially during this pandemic. And, we have, cheap and expensive activities parents can do with their kids. That's in the back. And so it's just, trying to get parents active, get them and allowing their kids, to, read something enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. And, one of the things that we encourage families to do, obviously with the podcast name Reading with Your Kids, is to read with your kids. And we really try to emphasize the fact that we're not just talking about reading with your babies. Continue to read with your kids when they're in 4th and 5th grade, when they're in middle school, when they're in high school. And I know it might not be practical to sit down and read aloud Harry Potter or the Iliad or the Odyssey, whatever your kids in high school are reading. But this sounds like a great magazine that, is something, a magazine is meant to be shared.
Right.
So it's in the house and, the kid might pick it up in the living room. The mom might pick it up at the kitchen table. Dad might bring it into the private room where he showers. But you can all take something from it and then sit down and talk about it on the way to school, over the dinner table, on the way to whatever practice you bring your kids to.
Absolutely. One of the, and that's important. I mean, we still read with our children. I mean, we have small kids, but, we read with our kids, and it makes a huge difference in a child's understanding when a parent is reading with the kid, because certain words, like for example, yesterday we were playing a game with our son, and the word he kept saying "debut," right? And we're like debut, but and so he kept saying, it's some their first debut was blah blah blah, and we're listening to it in the game. We're like, no, it's debut. But if you don't catch those things, right, then they're going to continue to say it wrong. And we can't count on the teachers to correct our children all the time, because in these classrooms, I mean, you might have anywhere from 25 to 35 children. There's no way one teacher or an assistant can get to every single kid as effectively as they would like to. And so the parent has the biggest control when it comes to making sure that their children read on a proficient level. And, and one of the things that we want to really drive home with parents, especially now, is the importance of technology, and kids getting into technology and understanding where technology is going. And if your child can't read, and if they're not reading something that they enjoy, then they're not really going to get into that. You need reading to be able to be good in tech, right? You have to be able to read and understand what the instructions are and have comprehension. And so it's really important.
Yeah. One of the things you said was in this latest edition of the book was talking about how many languages there are spoken around the world. This is something that fascinates me. Do you have a definitive number?
Let's see here. What cool thing about this article is this article was written by a 7th grader.
Wow.
And because one of the things we do is we have kids that write and that write for the magazine. And I don't think that he put a definitive number of how many languages are in here. He says that the least spoken language is Limerick, a language spoken in Vanuatu, in Vanuatu.
Oh man,
So, yeah,
I've-
which is an island in the South Pacific.
Yep, I've seen. That is a fascinating island. I've actually seen some videos, travel videos, of folks visiting that island. It's so small. They only have flights in the airport during the day, and after dinner, they close the airport, and it becomes a playground. And people go out there and they play basketball, they play soccer on the runway, because it's the biggest. It's just this island. It's a big long strip.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I wish we could go and run and play on Hartsfield, man, or drive some motorcycles down one of those runways or something. That would be super cool.
Yeah,
It says here the oldest language known is actually still active, and that's Tamil, I guess, Tamil, and it dates back to 2500 BCE. And wow, and it's actually, let's see, is the only ancient language that has survived all the way to modern world, and it's currently about 78 million people speaking that language. That's actually pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's things like that are interesting facts that kids can read about. They can read about it, and then, like I said, the listeners may not be able to get it, but they can then actually scan the barcode here, this QR code, and then they can learn more about it or be able to ask questions about it, about the particular subject. So it allows it to be very interactive for the children. But those are cool things that, you'd either find on Jeopardy or just a cool conversation piece, for a kid.
Yeah.
Something cool that a kid would know. Yeah.
That sounds a lot of fun. Now, is there a way for kids, you mentioned that there are kids who, that wrote that article. Are there a way for kids to submit material, stories,
Absolutely.
Story ideas?
Absolutely. So every QR code on our website invites children to submit either a piece of work that they would like to have in the magazine, or things that they would think are cool. And because we're really big on interaction, and we want kids to write in the magazine because the magazine is for them. And by them doing that, it keeps other children interested, because kids will write about, if a kid is interested in something, one kid is, and other kids will be interested. So they can either scan the QR codes, or they can go directly to our website, and, submit their information, for a request to write for the magazine.
That is awesome. Well, I know, I want to know where I can go and get my copy of You Can Have It All. I know people are going to want to know that too. So tell us where we can go to find out more.
To get the magazine, you just go to You Can Have It All magazine, type it in Google, You Can Have It All magazine, or you can go to YCHIAMAG.com, and that stands for You Can Have It All magazine.
Awesome. This has been fascinating. The picture, Shaun shared with me a couple of pictures from the magazine. The colors are really brilliant. They really, really pop. There's a lot going on. The front cover of the magazine that you show me, I'm like, it's like almost overload. It's like, kind of looking at a concert with all the flashing lights, except there's nothing flashing. It's a picture, but it's really cool. And I think kids would really love it. And I love the idea that it's interactive, that it's motivational. And I noticed on your website, you had a kind of a tagline, raising extraordinary kids, motivating the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We believe that motivation is a universal language. Children all over the world want to be motivated. People all over the world want to be motivated. And even though their motivations may be different, typically they're the same, right? Everybody wants happiness. They want to be loved. They want to be able to go after their dreams. They want a brighter and better future for their kids. And so motivating the world is just that. Motivation is a universal language. And what we plan to do with the magazine is to continue to spread the idea of motivation, being motivated, and going after your dreams to everyone on the globe.
Well, we want to motivate everybody to check out You Can Have It All, great new magazine. It's available in print and digitally from our friend Shaun Banks. Hey, Shaun, thanks so much for being with us.
Man, Jed, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Greg Howard. He'll be on to celebrate The Visitors, his wonderful new middle grade novel. It's a fantastic conversation. You don't want to miss it. Hey, if you are celebrating the publication of your great children's book, you may be frustrated and overwhelmed at how much work goes into letting the world know all about your book. You know, you don't have to do that alone. We would love to help you celebrate your book. Being a guest on the Reading with Your Kids podcast is a fantastic way to have a long-form conversation where you are celebrating your book, the inspiration, letting people know where they can get it. And being a guest on the Reading with Your Kids podcast, it's fun, it's easy, and it doesn't cost you a thing. Another fantastic way to celebrate your book is by submitting it to our Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read panel. If they believe that your book is worthy of 4 or 5 out of 5 stars, it becomes a Certified Great Read. And with that status comes a number of really powerful tools that can help families know that your book is worthy of their consideration. Oh, and we absolutely are so excited about our monthly promotion program. We'll celebrate your book through commercials on the podcast, through messages to our 75,000, I can't believe how quickly we're growing, 75,000 social media followers across Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Oh, and we'll also display your book on our nationwide network of digital pedestrian billboards. To discover all the ways we can help you celebrate your book, please visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the author's Click Here button at the top of the page and scroll on down to our various services. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, I want to start by thanking our guest, Shaun Banks. Please be sure to check out You Can Have It All, Raising Extraordinary Kids, Motivating the World. Also want to thank our sponsor, The Books by Sue Arts. Looking for something? And The Green Gem. Hey, my team deserves a big thank you. Alejandra Doherty, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Skylar Strauss. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.